Hi guys, today we have a really exciting video for you. We are going to predict who's going to win this year's ICC Cricket World Cup. The Cricket World Cup is one of the biggest events on the planet, just like the Olympics and the FIFA World Cup. This tournament is hosted every 4 years, and this time it is hosted by England and Wales. There are 10 nations participating in this World Cup. We have South Africa, India, Australia, England, New Zealand, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan and West Indies. So far we are done with 15 matches in the tournament, and New Zealand is in the lead, followed by England, India and Australia. Now let us have a look at the team stats of each of these countries, their important players and the statistics of these players in ODIs. So we are going to be throwing around a lot of technical jargons related to cricket very soon. Here are a few terms that you need to know about. Batting average. It represents how many runs on average a batsman scores before getting out. The higher the batting average, the better the batsman's ability to score runs without getting out. Next we have bowling economy. This represents the number of runs conceded per over. It is calculated by the number of runs conceded divided by the number of overs bowled. First off, we have South Africa, which is the only African nation that is a part of this tournament. The team is led by their captain, Faf du Plessis, who has a batting average of 45.43. They have a world-class opener, Hashim Amla, and Kagiso Rabada, who is one of the best fast bowlers South Africa has produced. The South African team has shown excellent performance in the last 5 ODIs, and we can expect them to perform similarly in this World Cup as well. India is one of the craziest cricket following nations in the world. Its popularity in cricket is unmatchable. Captain Virat Kohli leads India. He is without a doubt one of the best cricketers in the world. His batting average is close to 60. They also have Rohit Sharma, who is popularly known as the Hitman, and Jasprit Bumrah, who is India's leading strike bowler. India has won 2 of its last 5 ODI matches it played before the World Cup and lost 3. Despite their recent losses, expectations are high for India to perform well in this World Cup. Cricket is one of the popular sports in Australia. Aaron Finch captains a team who has a decent batting average of 39.25. They have some really talented players in the team, such as David Warner and Mitchell Starc. You can see their career stats on the screen. Australia has done significantly well in the last 5 ODIs, where they have won all the 5 matches. From the birthplace of cricket, we have one of the strongest contenders for the World Cup. Team England is led by Eoin Morgan, who has a batting average of 39.32. They have other great players like Joe Root and Ben Stokes. England won the last 4 matches out of 5. With home support, they have a fairly good chance to lift this trophy. Next, we have New Zealand, who are popularly known as the Kiwis. They are being led by Kane Williamson, who has a very good batting average of 46.51. Ross Taylor and Martin Guptill are the other main players in this team. They have won 4 out of the last 5 matches. They have a very high probability of winning this time. Then we have Pakistan, who are captained by Sarfaraz Ahmed. He has a batting average of 46.51. The team also has other good batsmen like Fakhar Zaman and Babar Azam. Their statistics are displayed on the screen. Looking at their previous 5 ODI performances, it seems Pakistan faces an uphill struggle to win this World Cup. Next up in the list, we have another Asian country, Bangladesh. It is being led by Mashrafe Mortaza, who possesses a bowling economy of 4.85. They have a good opener, Tamim Iqbal, and one of the best all-rounders in the world, Shakib Al Hasan. Considering the last 5 ODIs, their performance has not been very satisfactory. Now we will look into a South Asian island country, Sri Lanka. They are being led by their new captain, Dimuth Karunaratne, who has a batting average of 24.93. They also have Kusal Pereira and a world-class pace bowler, Lasith Malinga. Of the last 5 matches, they have lost 3, drawn 1 and won another. Analyzing their stats, it looks like Sri Lanka might have to go through a bit of struggle to win this World Cup. Moving on to our next team, which is Afghanistan, a team which has been playing some good cricket. They are being led by Gulbuddin Naib, who is an all-rounder and has a bowling economy of 5.25. Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi are the other good players in the team. Out of the last 5 ODI matches, they have won 2, lost 2 and drawn 1. They might be considered as an underdog team, but are still a force to be reckoned with. Finally, hailing all the way from the Caribbean region, we have the West Indies team. Jason Holder captains the team. He has a bowling economy of 5.55 and can bat as well. Chris Gayle and Andre Russell are the 2 big hitters present in the team. They have performed fairly well in the last 5 ODIs. The Windies have a 50-50 chance of winning this World Cup. Now that we have been introduced to the teams, let's have a look at their ICC ODI rankings. Leading the table, we have Team England, followed by India. In the 3rd position, we have South Africa, followed by New Zealand, Australia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, West Indies, Sri Lanka, and finally Afghanistan. Before we move into predicting who's going to win this year's World Cup, let's look at the results of the last 6 years. In the year 1996, Sri Lanka lifted the trophy. The next 3 consecutive tournaments were won by Australia from 1999 to 2007. In 2011, India won the World Cup, and in 2015, Australia became the champions again. As you can see on the screen, we have the entire schedule of this year's World Cup. It started on May 30th and will go on until July 14th. Each team will play against all the other teams in a round-robin method. The round-robin is a very simple algorithm. It is a cyclic process which is easy to implement. Based on the points scored by each team, the top 4 will qualify to the semi-finals. Before we give out our prediction, we at Simplilearn want to clarify that we are not biased towards any team. The results are purely based on the performances of the teams over the last few years. We'll be using the Logistic Regression machine learning model to predict the winner. So without any further ado, let's get into the code. We will first start off by importing all the libraries and dependencies. We will be using pandas and numpy for data manipulation and analysis. Then we'll be using matplotlib and seaborn, which is for data visualization. And finally, we will be using the scikit-learn library for building the model using Logistic Regression. So now let's run this cell. Next, we'll be loading the data sets. We'll be loading the first file into the world_cup variable and use pandas library to read the data set. The second file into the results variable. Let's have a look at both the data sets. This is the first data set. Here we have all the 10 teams and the number of times they have played the World Cup, and this is the number of times they have won it, and these 2 columns represent the number of times they have played the finals and the semi-finals, and finally we have their current ODI rankings. Moving on to our next data set. This is the results data set. It represents all the details of the ODI matches the teams have played through the years 2010 to 2017. Team 1 represents the home country, Team 2 represents the away country, and here we have the winner, and this column represents the margin by which the match was won, and finally we have the location where the match was played. So now let's run this. Next, let's display the head of both the data sets. As you can see, head displays the first 5 rows of the data set. After that, we'll filter the matches played by India and display the results. So here are the first 5 results of the modified table. Let's now create a column to display the details of matches played in 2010 and take it as a reference. So as you can see, we have a new column called match here, and we have filtered out the results for 2010. In the next piece of code, we'll merge the details of the teams participating in this World Cup with their past results, drop the duplicates, and get the count. Let's now display the results of the newly created data frame. While doing feature engineering, we need to delete certain columns from the data set that won't affect the outcome of the prediction process. Here, we'll be dropping the date, margin, and ground columns. So here we have the output of the modified table. Now that we are done with feature engineering, let's start building the model. We are going to assign a label 1 if team 1 won the match and label 2 if team 2 won it, and then check the results. After this, we need to convert the categorical values to continuous inputs. Using model_selection method from scikit-learn library, we will split the data for training and testing. We'll be using 70% data for training and the rest for testing. Let's see the first 5 rows from the final data. Now we are going to train the model using the Logistic Regression method. Using Logistic Regression .fit function, we'll pass the xtrain and ytrain variables. To get the accuracy for training set and testing set data, we'll use logreg.score function. So here you can see our model's training accuracy is 68% and test accuracy is 66%. Now we'll add the ICC ranking data and the World Cup fixtures data. Let's have a look at the data sets. This is the ICC rankings data. Here we have all the 10 teams and their respective points. Here we have the fixtures data set. Here we have the entire schedule of the World Cup. The tournament started on the 30th of May and it will go on until the 14th of July. We are going to store the data sets into ranking and fixtures variables respectively. Also, using an empty list pred set, we'll store the results of the league games. Now it's time to create new columns with ranking position for each team and slicing the data set for the first 45 games. We are doing this since there are only 45 league stage matches. As you see, this is the output. After this, we'll run a for loop to add teams to the new prediction data set based on the ranking position of each team. Then we'll convert the list pred set into a data frame and store it in a variable called backup pred set. These are the first 5 results of the list pred set. Then we need to get the dummy variables and add missing columns to the training data set by running a for loop. Here's the output of the teams that are playing in the World Cup for all the matches. In the next piece of code, we'll predict the results of all the league stage matches. So these are the probable winners of all the group matches. Based on our prediction, New Zealand, England, India and South Africa are the 4 teams likely to qualify for the semi-finals. New Zealand will play against India and England will play against South Africa. We will store these teams in the form of a tuple semi. This large block of code will be used to get the result of the semi-finals by creating a user-defined function clean and predict. The function accepts 4 parameters. This is the final step with which we can obtain the result of the winner of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. Now we'll call the above defined function and pass the parameters to get the winners of the semi-finals. As you see here, we have New Zealand playing against India and the probable winner being India. Similarly, we have South Africa playing against England and the probable winner being England. So we have the 2 finalists, India and England. We'll store these finalists into a tuple called finals. Finally, we'll call the clean and predict function to know who is winning this World Cup. And there we go, we have England being the probable winner of this World Cup. Although the prediction is favoring England, the previous performance of the teams isn't the only factor that can assure its victory. There are numerous other factors that come into play, such as weather conditions, player injuries, crowd support, team morale and much more. An algorithm alone cannot take into consideration the prerequisites required for a team to win a match. Let's just hope the best team wins.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.